This is a short video tutorial on how to create a catalog in Lightroom and also how to import photos from an external hard drive into Lightroom. Okay, so before we start, I think it's important for me to just briefly explain what a catalog is. Okay, so think of a catalog like a folder. Personally, I think one of Lightroom's greatest benefits is its ability to create a catalog and subsequently to organize, arrange, filter, rate photographs. So the way I like to use Lightroom catalogs is by creating a new catalog for each project I'm working on. Okay, so for example, let's say that I am working on an abstract assignment for this class, and I'm also working on a documentary photo project, and I'm also working on a photo books project. Okay, it would be a little bit manic if I had all of those images and files inside one single folder. Okay, so instead, what I'm going to do is create a new catalog, or I should say a different catalog for each project. All right, so another way to think about its benefits is imagine that you are a wedding photographer, okay, and you have 3 weddings in one weekend. You could imagine how crazy your life would quickly become if you were to just download all of your images from all 3 weddings into the same folder. All right, so compartmentalizing and organizing is really key to being a good photo editor. Okay, so how do we create a new catalog inside Lightroom? So what you're looking at here is the interface of Lightroom. So basically before this video started, I simply clicked on Lightroom Classic. Okay, and you'll notice, especially if you purchase the Creative Cloud suite, that there's a Lightroom and a Lightroom Classic. We're going to be working in Lightroom Classic. Okay, we have there's a lot more opportunities for organizing and rating within the Classic version. Okay, so I double clicked on Lightroom Classic, and what opened up for me automatically was my most recent catalog. So I'm going to move my mouse up here. You could see the title of this window is actually Sports. LR means Lightroom, CAT means catalog. Okay, so you could always remind yourself what catalog you're working in simply by the title at the top here. Okay, so what I want to do is create a new catalog though for, let's say, an abstract photography assignment. Okay, I'm not going to want to put abstract photos in the same catalog as a sports one. It just doesn't make sense. Okay, so to create a new catalog, I'm going to activate Lightroom. I'm going to go up to File, New Catalog. Okay, now I already have my images saved to an external hard drive. Okay, and that's a really important step to understand for following this demo. Okay, so I took my images a couple of weeks ago, and right away I saved my files to my external hard drive. Okay, so I'm not going to be importing my photos from a memory card, but rather they were already taken and organized. Okay, so the photos that I am going to be importing, they're from an abstract light, I think I called it. Yep, here we go. Okay, so this is a folder with all of my photos in there. Okay, so you could see that I shot in RAW and JPEG. Nothing else is in here though. Okay, so what I'm going to do is create a new catalog. I'm going to save it as abstract light inside the same folder with all of my photos. Okay, so everything's going to stay nice and organized. I'm going to click create, and when I click create, so this is just asking if I want to back up just for the sake of time in this video. I'm going to say skip this time. Okay, but now it looks as though Lightroom Classic shut down, and it kind of did, but basically what it's doing is restarting the interface with my brand new catalog. Okay, so basically it closed my sports catalog and is reopening with abstract light. Okay, so I don't see any images in here because I just created the catalog. Okay, so step 1, create the catalog. Step 2 is to import your images. Okay, one thing I just want to call your attention to are these tabs up here. So if you don't see those, it's probably because your arrow is turned down. So when you can import only when you're in the library tab. Okay, so if you're looking, oh, I want to import, but you're not exactly sure where that button is, you have to be in the library tab to visually see this import button. Okay, if you're in another tab such as develop, and just to give you a little preface a little bit, so develop is where you're going to make all of your visual edits. Okay, but if you're in the develop tab, you can always go file and import photos and videos that way. Okay, but if you're looking for the visual button, you want to make sure that you're in library. Okay, so our next step, as I mentioned, is to import. Okay, so I'm going to click, in the library tab, I'm going to click down to import, and now I'm going to search for my images inside Abstract Light. Okay, so the reason you see two abstract lights here, because this is my abstract light catalog that we just created. Okay, that larger folder though is where all of my images are. Okay, so I can easily uncheck all of them or check them all. I like to just import everything at first, and then as I'm sifting through my photos, I could go ahead and delete the ones that I don't want individually. Okay, before I hit the import button, pause yourself for a second, okay? Because what you see here is incredibly important. Okay, so basically think of Lightroom as existing in 3 columns. We have where we want to import our photos from, what photos do we want to import, and where do we want to import to. Okay, so we're importing my abstract light photos. However, what do we want to do with them? Now this is going to depend on where you're importing your photos from. Okay, so you can either add your photos to your catalog without moving the original. Okay, so this is what I would choose because my photos already exist in a folder on my hard drive. Okay, however, if you are importing from a memory card that will quickly be wiped clean, you want to make sure that you move your photos from your memory card into whatever folder you saved with your project title. Okay, really important to understand. So I'm just going to state that again. So if you're importing from a folder on a hard drive, you want to click add. If you're moving your images, if you're importing your images from a memory card to Lightroom and a hard drive, you want to click move. Okay, so this description down here does a pretty good job of telling you what the action is going to be. Okay, when you move, you're going to move your photos to a new location, and you'll also add it to a catalog. Okay, when you add it, you're going to add the photos to the catalog, but without moving them. Okay, and then the third column, where am I importing to? I'm going to import to my catalog, and that's this catalog up here. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and click import. All of my images are going to show up relatively quickly. Okay, and then in the next video, I'll show you how to do some basic adjustments underneath the develop tab.